You don't need a giant tackle box to start catching fish. Let me show you the 1% of lures that beginners actually need to catch popular species like bass, crappie, bluegill, walleye, trout, and pike. And stick around because 2 of these lures are so effective they're literally in survival kits. Let's start with a lure that has probably caught more fish than everything else combined, the jig. A jig is simply a hook with a weight molded onto it. And don't let the simplicity fool you. Jigs are insane because you can use them to catch almost every fish species depending on what you pair the jig with. To keep this beginner friendly, focus on 3 jig setups. And if you fish any of these species, this might be the last lure you ever need. For bass, paddletail swim baits that look exactly like fleeing baitfish are awesome. For walleye, live bait like worms, minnows, or leeches are incredible. Seriously, look how easy this is.
Big fish, really nice walleye. Net. Faster on the net, faster on the net. Oh, baby!
That's a pin.
There we go. That's a PB for me.
And for panfish, tiny curly-tailed grubs on light jigs work great. If you only learn one fishing technique your whole life, learn how to fish a jig, because this is the lure I'd pick if I could only pick one bait on a fishing trip. They're versatile, they're simple, and they just flat out catch fish. Let's jump into how to rig and fish the most popular jig techniques, starting with artificial soft plastics. Quick warning, this next part is where beginners lose the most fish, and it's super avoidable. How to rig your jig fast and straight. Most beginners mess up jig fishing by rigging the bait crooked. A crooked bait means unnatural action, which means fewer bites. And once you know this and fix it, your bait will swim like a completely different lure. Here's the one trick that fixes that. When rigging, lay the hook over your soft plastic and visually mark where the hook needs to come out of the bait. When you rig the bait, exit the hook at that exact spot you marked and your bait should lie perfectly straight. If it's off even a little bit, pull off your bait and redo it. A 10-second fix can literally double your hookup rate. The 2 best beginner soft plastic baits on jig heads, in my opinion, are paddletail swim baits and little curly-tailed grubs. Stick with these, they catch fish everywhere, and the reason is almost unfair. It's because the bait design does the work for you. For paddletail swim baits, their tails kick automatically, so beginners can just cast, reel straight back, and get bit. And similar, curly-tailed grubs. The curl does all the work. They're deadly on panfish and also work great for bass and walleye when fish are finicky. These baits are like a cheat code because their tails provide the action for you. Let me show you exactly how straightforward it is to work these baits. Make a cast along cover and reel it straight back at a medium pace just like this. If you don't get a bite, keep moving. Eventually, you'll find fish. This session was unreal. I think I caught something like 20 bass in 2 hours. It was so much fun on a little paddle tail on a jig.
Yeah, buddy.
By the way, if you're a bass angler and choosing the right bass bait feels overwhelming, I made the Bass Bait Selector cheat sheet that simplifies the process. Simply input your conditions and it'll tell you the exact baits you should be fishing. Check it out in the link below. Alright, now let's jump into live bait on jigs because this is where many beginners suddenly start catching way more fish. Live bait rigging on jigs is similar with some minor differences. For night crawlers, rig them exactly the same as the soft plastics where you feed the worm onto the hook and get a streamlined straight presentation. For leeches and minnows, the most popular rigging method is to hook these baits through the mouth or right behind the sucker on leeches. Jig fishing with live bait usually involves either fishing directly below your boat or making casts and dragging/bouncing your bait across the bottom. Super easy. Check out this clip that shows one of the best parts about live bait fishing on jigs.
Let me go net for her.
I need to tighten up his.
Big catfish. You might have to chase this, Dad.
Yeah, you think I need to? Yeah, I'm gonna start chasing.
Why is this in here?
Oh, that's a big fish.
It's huge. It's a huge carp.
Holy, that's like a freaking dinosaur.
Nope.
Well, get in there. What are you doing?
Oh, what did you do? What the?
We were jigging a river channel for walleye, but the magic of live bait is sometimes you get cool surprise catches just like this. Now this next lure is what I trust if I absolutely had to catch a fish. Our next beginner fishing lure is so consistently effective it's commonly included in outdoor survival kits where your life may depend on catching a fish. It's called an inline spinnerbait and it consists of a rotating spinner, a weight, and a hook that's sometimes dressed with things like fur or feathers. They're really easy to fish, just make a cast and reel it back. The reeling causes the spinner to rotate and flash, which draws in hungry fish. One of the best parts of inline spinnerbaits is they can catch pretty much anything that swims. Small ones like 1/8 ounce or smaller will catch little fish like bluegill and trout, and bigger ones get hammered by bass and pike. For best results, cast inline spinnerbaits near shallow cover like weed edges or shallow wood where fish are commonly feeding or hiding.
There's one. Little guy, that'll work.
Do note that these baits have treble hooks with 3 points. This helps with hookup ratio quite a bit, but it also makes them very snaggy. Be careful to cast near cover, but not in cover, or else you'll be reeling in a big salad. I'll show you a snag-proof option here in a sec. If you're focused on bass or pike fishing, the next two baits are cousins to the inline spinnerbait that are a little more specialized and arguably slightly better for targeting these fish. The first one is spinnerbaits, which consist of a skirted jig attached with a wire to a spinning blade. Similar to the inline spinnerbaits, regular spinnerbait blades spin during the retrieve, making some thump and flash in the water, which can help draw in fish. The reason I like spinnerbaits so much for beginners is because they're so forgiving. Since they have one big hook that's in line with the bait, you can be a little more aggressive with your casting because it will come over logs or through light weeds without snagging way better than an inline spinnerbait. This is one of the easiest lures in the world to fish around cover. Also, they're another bait that's easy to fish. Just chuck it out and do a straight retrieve near cover and you'll catch fish.
Hit. Little guy, I think.
Small fish.
No, largy. Right?
Large, yeah.
Yeah, he's in the weeds. Come here, buddy.
That's nice.
It's a nice one.
Pretty.
Nice. See a picture?
Once you get more comfortable, you can start adding pauses or changing retrieve speeds, but those are not necessary at all for beginners to catch fish. Spinnerbaits can be paired with soft plastic trailers, where you add a soft plastic to the bait to add some bulk or more action. Rigging these is exactly like the earlier section of jig rigging, where you slide the soft plastic onto the hook to get a straight lying bait. I like paddle tail swim baits in a matching color. I consider trailers completely optional on spinnerbaits. Honestly, some days I think I catch more fish without a trailer, but it's good to test with and without a trailer to see what the fish are feeling that specific day. I've had the most luck with white spinnerbaits, and I recommend starting there. The other cousin bait to inline spinnerbaits is called a bladed or vibrating jig, or colloquially a chatterbait. Similar to spinnerbaits, chatterbaits also have skirted jigs, but instead of a spinner, chatterbaits have a flat little blade that chatters back and forth, which again causes some noise and flash in the water. For beginners, a straight retrieve around cover like weed edges works great, but chatterbaits have a couple weird rules beginners never learn, but don't worry, I'll show them to you. Chatterbaits can also be paired with soft plastic trailers to add bulk. Note that sometimes paddle tails can impair the chatter action of these lures, so people tend to put on straighter baits like flukes or even big bulky creature baits. For beginners, I recommend just go with a fish-shaped trailer like a fluke in a matching color. Different from spinnerbaits where trailers are optional, I find that chatterbaits really should have a trailer to get bites. I'm curious if anyone in the comments has had a different experience. A quick summary of these three baits because they're so similar but have important differences that beginners need to know. Inline spinnerbaits will catch the widest range of fish species if you downsize the bait, whereas spinnerbaits and chatterbaits are primarily considered bass baits. Inline spinnerbaits will snag the most because of the treble hooks. Spinnerbaits and chatterbaits are both reasonably good around grass or weeds, but spinnerbaits are slightly better around wood than chatterbaits. Even with these slight differences, all three are beginner friendly. A simple cast and retrieve action gets bites on any of them. The next beginner fishing bait is another classic, the soft plastic worm. Soft plastic worms come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, but the most common one is a stick bait, or also called a Senko after the original Yamamoto Senko brand of stick bait. Bass absolutely love slurping up worms because they're an easy meal, so it's no surprise that soft plastic worms are so effective. Soft plastic worms are in the category of baits called finesse baits that are more subtle and rely less on flashy bait action and more on looking like a natural, tasty bass snack. Beginners should know two main ways to fish these baits, which are wacky worms or as a Texas rig. A wacky worm is super simple, and it's where you hook the worm through the middle. The angler then alternates between short pops of the bait and letting the bait drop in the water. This lets the ends of the worm wiggle in the water, which seems to drive bass wild. Wacky worm fishing is deadly for bank fishing and ponds, and honestly, it's still one of my favorite finesse fishing techniques that almost always guarantees a bite.
Oh. Bite. Oh, no.
In this footage, I did a little wacky worm challenge where I fished 15 different wacky worm colors to see what I could find out. The results surprised me. First, I caught a bass on every single color I tried, ranging from catching on the first cast to the 28th cast. And second, there was no obvious color preference, at least on that day. My takeaway was that bait profile is more frequently the more important factor to catching fish, and that bass seem to love the action of a wacky worm. I'm a big fan of fishing wacky worms a little faster with a pop pause cadence like this that lets you cover water. Many folks like to let the bait drop all the way to the bottom and fish it super duper slow, but after fishing this bait for dozens of hours, my opinion is that it's so desirable for most bass, you're better off covering water to find a fish that will almost always bite it instead of overworking one spot that may or may not have a fish nearby. And before we jump to Texas rigs, I want to highlight something super important about wacky rigs and why even pros should have this technique in their back pocket. On this trip, we were targeting trophy smallmouth bass on Lake Superior. The night before, we were tearing them up on crankbaits, so we woke up the next day feeling confident we'd have the exact same experience in the exact same spot where we know there were fish. We get in the water and it's dead calm, bluebird skies, and we couldn't buy a bite on aggressive moving baits. Knowing what I know about wacky worms, I had us all make the switch, and just like that, our day was salvaged.
Oh, something bit me, but spit it. No, he's still there. Yeah, we're on.
The wacky man. Is the fish?
Yeah, it's decent. They fight a lot harder on this little white stuff.
Yeah.
I need room to reel here.
The maneuver?
Just like turning them like that. God, they fight so good.
Yeah, he's not that big, but he's fighting like a 12 pounder.
It's a tank. It's a tank.
Keep him up.
Yay!
It's not bad. It's going to be 16.
Wacky.
Wacky.
Hit it like a ton of bricks. Sweet.
The lesson is that every angler should have a finesse presentation in their back pocket for those finicky bite days. It can literally be the difference between getting skunked and having a decent session.
Oh, he's still there.
Try to get under the log.
Nice one. Oh, did you launch your wacky?
What's even wilder, we caught not one, but 2 tagged fish on wacky worms on this trip. Pretty cool.
Oh, I just got gobbled right by the boat. I saw him come up. Sweet. Freaking sweet. Big old rock bass. He's tagged.
The other popular way to rig soft plastic worms is called a Texas rig, which is more weedless and bottom oriented. First, slide a bullet weight onto your line, then tie on either an EWG, which stands for extra wide gap hook, or an offset worm hook. Next, we need to add the worm by slipping about 1/4 inch of the worm onto the point of the hook, exit the hook out the bait, and slide it up to the top of the hook. Next, slide the hook back into the worm and hide the hook point in the worm itself. This creates a very weedless presentation that drives bass wild. A popular variation of the Texas rig is go weightless. This is a good option for pond anglers because you can cast around the shallow edges of a pond and you're not bombing straight to bottom. One of the best things about wacky worms and Texas rig worms is they're pretty bulletproof to fish. Take your time and let the wacky worm drop and the Texas rig get to bottom, and you will catch fish in the area. You do not need to be a pro with your retrieve techniques.
Sweet. The hog log, baby.
Color selection, I recommend beginners bring a light and a dark color and try both for a little bit and see which one gets more bites. Another thing about Texas rigs, this style of fishing is not only for pairing with stick baits. People pair soft plastics like craws, creature baits, finesse baits, and literally anything that's made by manufacturers with Texas rigging. Learning this one style of fishing opens up a massive variety of presentations for beginners because there are so many different baits to pair with it. It's an awesome thing for beginners to learn because it opens so many options. And now onto our final best beginner fishing lure. I wanted to include a topwater bass bait on the list because seeing a bass torpedo out from the depths and smack a bait on the surface is just about as cool as it gets. In my opinion, the most beginner-friendly topwater lure is a Whopper Plopper or a Plopper style bait. These are floating baits that have a little propeller that during the retrieve causes a little burbling commotion in the water. Plopper style baits are awesome for beginners because a straight retrieve triggers the right action compared to other topwaters that require fancy techniques like walking the dog. Also, since they float, you don't have to worry about pausing, which would cause other baits to sink and catch on weeds. Simply cast out in your shallow cover and reel in the bait and you'll get bit. So those are the core beginner lures. Simple, versatile, and reliable anywhere you fish. Learn just these and you'll avoid all the confusion and start catching fish way faster than most beginners. And if you want to dive deeper into the world of bass fishing baits, check out the Bass Bait Selector cheat sheet linked below. It's distilled decades of on-the-water experience to tell you exactly which lure to use based on any conditions, so you always have the optimal bait tied on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.